Okay. And we are live. Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. I did promise you guys I thought that there would be big development in the takeover race this week, and here we are with a lot of development. A big day indeed. I can see some of you guys are in the chat already. Who's in there? Big T saying could be the start of Alfani's exit strategy. Garnacho Stan says as well, Qatar are walking away. It does kind of feel like this. So, where do we currently stand with the takeover? Well, of course, today we were all minding our businesses, just our standard Wednesday afternoon, and all of a sudden, Sheikh Tassim has put in another offer for Manchester United. Now, this is a big offer, of course, his biggest yet, a world record for a sports franchise. And here's the truth, guys, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Glazers will want even more. And if he has genuinely put down the gauntlet that this is going to be a take it or leave it deal, this is his final bid, I think Radcliffe might be winning this race after all. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts on that for sure. So talking about the overall investment, about the overall levels of this bid, let's get into the nitty gritty of the situation. So, of course, as we know, Sheikh Jassim has put in an offer. Now, according to L'Equipe, it's around about 5.8 billion euros altogether. So in terms of pounds, we are talking roughly 5.2 billion all in, with a pledge for 100 for £1 billion investment and the debt wiped off. Now, to the Glazers, that, simply put, is just going to be what, like 5.2 billion, because they don't care about the debt. It's United's debt now. They don't care about the investment coming after. That does not concern them whatsoever. Satwan says Glazers out. Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure Sheikh Jassim is probably feeling the same way. I mean, the Qataris, they're not used to losing out in these types of deals. He would have expected his offers to be accepted. I mean, the guy has put a world record bid for a sports franchise down on the table, and it's probably not going to be enough because of the way the Glazers want to do things. Now, according to anybody, we can see people in the chat here who's in there. Lacanio says, the last call is from Sheikh Jassim. We are tired of the Glazers. We do not want them. Absolutely. And I wouldn't call myself a guy who hates people. I'm not a hater, but I really hate the Glazer family, and it is it's just been going on for so long. This whole takeover deal has been going on for months upon months upon months, and it does seem like we're getting towards the end of it. And for a lot of people, it won't be the outcome that they want. I think in terms of what has to be done, if it's going to be Radcliffe, that man's going to have to do something massive to get the fans on side. I don't think he will. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, this is the situation. We are looking at a scenario where Jim Radcliffe is going to spend what, like 5.5 billion altogether to get rid of the Glazer family, but a lot of that's going to come further down the line. Joel's going to stay, Avram Glazer's going to stay, and he's going to give them a big payoff further down the line. So what they're doing is taking a lot of money up front, and then they're taking more money later on. People are joining into the chat. Who's in there? We can see our fans in there. Axel Diassi, welcome to United. Yes, there has been talk about Diassi, and we will get on to the transfer news very soon. Double S in the chat as well, saying, hi Stephen, I'm back, mate. How are you? I am good, man. How are you as well? Yeah, not too bad, man. It's good to have some developments on this takeover. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time, because it did feel like every single week it was just the same story. We were stuck in the mud. It wasn't moving. We do seem to have progression. We do seem to be moving towards something. Just depends on what's going to happen next. I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts about it. Irfan says, breaking news, Qatar is coming to the EPL, facts. And Double S says, really don't want Axel Diassi, just an overrated bum. I mean, I think Diassi's an okay player. Kim Min-jae would definitely be my first choice. Kim Min-jae is definitely the defender I want to sign next season. Yeah, but I do think that Irfan's putting a good point out there. There's nothing stopping Qatar going out and buying another club. They can do it. I'm sure it will be a much easier negotiation than what the Glazers have put up. So I do think that there is still potential for Sheikh Jassim to end up owning a Premier League club. Does that put United further back? Potentially. Potentially it does. Double S says, please accept the bid already. It all depends, man, because now that Qataris have put another bid in. Radcliffe and Ineos might put another bid in as well. I mean, this could just drag on forever. It is good that in terms of resolution, Sheikh Jassim has said he wants to put it down. Friday is the deadline. No more negotiations with him after Friday. That's what he's come out with. Lacanio saying Aston Villa is planning on buying Laporte and Pau Torres. It seems like mid-table clubs are not playing with owners who want to help the club going in the right direction. Sorry, just venting. No, man, absolutely. You are right. I mean, we are one of the only clubs who the owners are actively working against because it makes them more money to work against our best interests off the pitch. Keep money in the club, keep money for dividends, and that's what they do. In terms of what is going on with Sheikh Jassim, so let's get into the news. Let's get into what some of the reporters are saying. So Simon Stone, BBC, very, very reliable, genuinely Tier 1. Lacanio says, hope you're doing well, brother. No, absolute, man. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing all right as well, man. So Simon Stone, very, very reliable reporter for BBC. So he has said, Jassim's team regard their offer for 100% of the club as transactionally simple. It will clear the debt, provide additional funding for players and a stadium, etc. So simply put, it will just be, here's the money, here's the cash, on you go. That's very simple. I think what Radcliffe is proposing is a very difficult thing to do. He will need to sell some assets. He will need to refinance. He will need to take debts out on his own company to buy Man United. Daz says it's pure greed. Yes, it is. And we can't be surprised. It is a Glazer family at the end of the day, guys. I mean, we know what the Glazers are like. We know what they stand for, what they will do, and this has been their plan all along. Big T says Osimhen's asking price has been lowered. Haven't seen that one, man, but it would be good. I do really rate Osimhen. I think the price tag's the big thing. I don't think I could justify spending the entire budget on Osimhen, but if it has come down, maybe he is a more affordable option. So I will check that one out, of course. But the big one, guys, it's always going to be this takeover, and we finally have some news, and we are looking forward to seeing where this is going, I'm sure. So Matt Lawton of the Times has says Sheikh Jassim will withdraw from the process if his offer is not accepted by Friday. So basically, I think where we are kind of at is at a point now where we are saying Sheikh Jassim, he has put his final offer down. This is the most he is willing to pay. This is the most this man will bid. He says the offer will be left on the table, but he will not be negotiating any further. As Big T said at the start, as other people have said, is this an exit strategy? I don't know. It might be. We could be in that situation. We could be in that scenario where Qatar are feeling like they're just never going to get this done. And honestly, who would blame them? I mean, we're talking about a process that's been ongoing for the best part of 9 months now. We're talking about endless bids after bids getting ignored, world record bids for franchises. I don't blame them if they want to walk away. I do think we are kind of looking like it's going to be Radcliffe as the owner. I think that's where this is heading. It all depends. If the Glazers want the money up front, if they want that cash, if they think it meets their expectations, maybe they will accept. And that's what a lot of you guys will be looking for. But we are running a question in the poll, guys. So, on today's news, based on where we currently stand in this moment of time, who will be the next owner of Manchester United? Will it be Qatar or will it be Radcliffe? Now, we always ask you guys this because I think it's important to engage with you guys and talk about where we're currently standing in terms of this process. And I think what really will be the big determining factor is what happens by Friday. I do expect a lot of news coming tomorrow, tonight, on Friday. A lot will go down for sure, no doubt about it. So in terms of what other journalists are saying, Ben Jacobs, of course, a pretty reliable journalist, has been saying that Qatar have put an all or nothing bid down, and if it's not accepted, they will walk away. That will probably end this whole this will probably end the whole takeover saga, this whole epic, long, run out, dragged out process where we finally will get ourselves a new owner. So Mike Keegan, one of the very best reporters, speaking on this all summer long. Really, really top work from Mike Keegan. And he has said Qatari deadline is Friday. After Friday, the bid will stand, but there will be no further negotiations. That is an opportunity for Qatar to walk out of any potential deal if they do not think it suits. And it genuinely could happen. I think we are we are at risk of Qatar walking out and Radcliffe being the last man standing. Daz is saying my biggest fear is now that they pull out and buy another Prem team. They absolutely could. I mean, Liverpool were potentially going to be sold to Qatar at one point. They could go back in for them. There was talk of West Ham in London, an attractive team, of course, based in London. Tottenham might be for sale, another option as well. So we could be left behind if the ownership is not ambitious. If it is Qatar, do expect that 1 billion to be invested very quickly into the team. Sheikh Jassim, in their message, in what has come out today, I'm sure you guys have seen it. They're doing this, they're putting the bid down because this day next week, the transfer window will open. And when the transfer window opens, we have to be able to act. We're seeing Liverpool buying players. Jude Bellingham's just gone to Real Madrid. Arsenal, they're in for Declan Rice. Chelsea for Caicedo. We have to be on the ball. We have to be quick with this one. Irfan is saying very good news for United fans. I think it's good for United fans who want this takeover done, and I think that's pretty much everybody. I think we want to move on from this and get on to our summer transfer window and go on to next season. This is something that should have been dealt with a very, very long time ago, and for it not to have been done so is just pure greed from the Glazers. Pure greed, looking more and more money. That is all those guys have ever cared about with this club. So in terms of what everybody else is saying, let's just see here. In terms of Jim Radcliffe, now I think this is very, very important for you guys to note. So this is also coming from Matt Lawton of the Times. So he is saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have emerged as the clear favourites to complete a deal, and they're in the final stage of negotiations with the Rain Group. That's a big thing to come out with. That is a big, big statement. Reporters, they do not usually come out with things like this unless they genuinely have a very good feeling that it is going to happen. So Daz is saying as well, we don't know if Ten Hag is allowed to buy the players with either sale. Again, yeah, there's real concerns here. I think Romano had said as well that he was concerned that Ten Hag might not have the money to spend, and that's where it could be going down to. And it's definitely affecting the summer transfer window, no doubt about it. Rahan is saying, how much is the Qatari bid? This is something a lot of people are not sure about. Figures are raging currently. Most people seem to be settling in around 5.2 to 5.3 billion pounds, with the debt wiped out on top of that, and with 1 billion invested as a pledge to Manchester United. Now, if you are the Glazers, we know how they operate. That 1 billion might as well not exist. They will not care what happens with United after that, after they have sold the club. So that pretty much is knocked off it. The debt is now been moved on to United. This is what they did when they bought the club. It was their debt stuck onto United, and now it's our debt. So the Glazers do not have to repay that, whatever way you look at it. So to them, the bid's going to be what, like 5.2, 5.3 billion. And Radcliffe's bid all in is valuing the club at 5.5 to 6 billion. So I expect them to go with Radcliffe's bid if you are thinking like the Glazers, which it's never a nice thing to do. Who else is in there? CR7 saying a load of Qatari flags and hearts. We can see how you're standing, man. But yes, keep voting on the poll. Who is going to win the takeover? Will it be Qatar or will it be Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Lipstick Movie Saints is saying $6.5 billion. Yes, it is $6.5 billion. So it all depends on what your guys' currencies are, how you want to spin it, or not spin it, exchange it, if it's euros or if it's going to be pounds. Well, whatever you guys are working with, $6.5 billion is the total amount offered by Sheikh Jassim. So, how do we feel about that? It is still under what the Glazers wanted, and I cannot help but feel a little bit disappointed by that. I did think there would come a stage where Sheikh Jassim and Qatar would eventually just pay whatever the Glazers wanted to get the club. They do not seem willing to do that. I think they know themselves that should they go and really overpay for United, then all of a sudden they're going to overpay for everything. Irfan is saying 7 players have to come in and Qatar in. I do think we are looking 7 players. Reports of that did come out during this afternoon that we wanted to bring in at least 7 players this year. That's Erik ten Hag's big target. So we're probably talking 5 players bought with cash and maybe 1 or 2 free agents to supplement on top of that. Daz says it's a mad offer. Man, it absolutely is a mad offer. It is a crazy, crazy offer. We are talking about the biggest and the most amount of money ever offered for any sports franchise, be it American football, baseball, basketball, football, cricket, whatever. This is the most anybody has ever offered, and that is enormous. That is so big, and it's probably going to be declined. Like, I genuinely cannot believe it. I cannot believe the grade of the Glazers, where we are standing, how we are still going with this takeover in the first place. I mean, every offer put down by Qatar and by Jim Radcliffe is paying well above the share price of United. So every offer is already overpaying for the club. That's mad. That's a good point as well. It is a very good point. I think. Am I froze? I think. Was I froze there, guys? I don't know if it was or not. I have my iPad here, so just checking to make sure it's not freezing, and I got the chat up in front of me. But yes. So when we're talking about this takeover, when we're looking at where we are currently standing, it's definitely looking like something is going to happen. We are very close to the end of this process at long last. At long last. Daz has said for a second, cheers, man. I think it might be internet. I think someone's watching the West Ham Europa conference on YouTube downstairs or something. I know. But yeah, when we're talking about where this bid is standing, where the process is, surely we are getting towards the end of it. For better or worse, if Sheikh Jassim pulls out on Friday, then it's going to be Radcliffe. If the Glazers accept his bid, then it's going to be Qatar. And then we will have resolution. We will be getting towards the end of it. I think Qatar have kind of forced the hand of the negotiations here. I think it's an interesting move. And if they stick to their guns, if they do not come in with any more bids, then I think we will be getting towards the end of this. At least then we will know who will be buying the club. Irfan is saying Lautaro Martinez, Mohamed Kudus, and Axel Diassi, Anis Stepan, Caicedo, and Mike Magnan. That could be a very, very nice transfer window. Who says so, man? Lipstick is saying still 0-0 in the Conference League for anybody interested in that one. And Daz is saying Friday will be interesting for sure, man. Absolutely. I expect to hear news tomorrow. I think realistically, if we do not hear news tomorrow that it's likely to be accepted, I think we have to assume then that it's been rejected, and we will be moving on with the next bit of the transfer, with the overall takeover. That's what I think will happen. I think if it does not happen within the next 24 hours, I think certainly it looks like Radcliffe will be the new owner of United. That's my thoughts. Big T says if Jim's clever, he'll announce Osman and Dawson, try to soften the blow. I mean, yeah, put it this way. If you're Jim Radcliffe, one of the first things he did was promise, whenever he first came out with interest to buy United last summer, was he wanted to put the Manchester back in Manchester United. He wanted to run the club for the fans. It all sounded good on paper. He said he would get rid of the Glazers. It didn't happen. He's going to keep at least Joel and Avram Glazer on at the club. So, what is he going to do? He has to go out and he has to do something. He has to go out and make a big statement signing, a big statement in terms of intent. Come out with something. Say you're going to build a new stadium. Say you're going to invest 500 million in the squad across the next 2 years. Do something like that. That's what you have to do if you're Radcliffe. I think all things considered, he might not do that. We have to remember that Radcliffe is a very sharp businessman, a ruthless businessman as well. He will want rid of the Glazers, make no mistake about it. I think he's being pragmatic. Daz is saying he promised Nice the world too, I guess. Yes, that's another one as well. He did promise Nice a lot. He promised them that they would be a Champions League club in France. They're not there. They have an unbelievable situation where the players and the manager are coming out and apologising to the fans on behalf of the board for the board's actions. I mean, Nice is not a well-run football club. It is not where you want to be if you are going to be studying where and how to run a football club. Nice definitely not looking like it at all. See another comment in there from Khatib saying Jim Radcliffe is a Glazer, and if we want to save our club, we cannot support a Glazer bid by Radcliffe. Interesting choice, man. I do think it's, whilst he's keeping the Glazers on, I think he will want to run the club as well as he can. I hope. I guess that's more hopeful. in terms of the overall takeover bid, in terms of where we could be under Radcliffe's ownership. I do just want to see United moving in the right direction, and I'm sure you guys do as well. But I do fear for us. I cannot escape that thought. Lipstick is saying either way, it'll be good to get it over so we can start on with the transfers. A massive window for Ten Hag. Absolutely. This is a very unfair distraction, in my opinion, for Eric Ten Hag. Whole takeover has been going on for months and months. We do not know where the money's coming from this summer. We do not know how much money we have to spend. And that's not great. That's not how you run a football club. There is a lack of direction at the top of the club. There's a lack of accountability. There is no real message as to where we're going to go. Are we going to go and spend 100 million this year, 200 million, 250? We don't know. Eric Ten Hag, he doesn't know as well. So what we have to do and what we need to do is go out and invest in this team. Now, Sheikh Jassim, he has said that he sees this transfer window as absolutely essential to the future of Manchester United as a football club. He knows we have to get this right. I think that's good. I think he's talking sense. I think fans will like his comments. Fans will like where he's coming from. I think all things considered, what we need to do is just hope that we can keep on moving forward. Big T's saying, I don't know what the Glazers have said to Jim. If they told Jim they don't want to sell and asked him to invest, he could be thinking about the long game and getting them out. And Daz is saying, Jim has been quiet for me, hiding behind the Glazers. Almost, I think he's genuinely trying to be the businessman as always. And as for what Big T's saying, yes, I think his long-term plan will be to get rid of the Glazers. He's going to acquire a majority stake by buying out the 4 Glazers who aren't really involved in terms of the overall running of the club. Joel and Avram Glazer would stay on in a reduced capacity, and we would be moving from there. That's where we would be going from. Is that a long-term business model? No. But I tell you this, and I can almost guarantee this, the reason why the Glazers will want to stay on, Joel and Avram, is they know if they stay on now, have Radcliffe buy a load of their shares up, and they just hang on, eventually he's going to pay them even more money to leave altogether. That's what they're holding out for. If they take Sheikh Jassim's offer of 5.2, 5.3 billion and walk away right now, then that's going to cap what they can make for United. The Glazers, the way they run this club, they are leeches and they will sit and suck the life out of the club. And they are in a position now where they're sitting here thinking, do we take the money now or do we take some money now and hold out for even more later down the line? They've always been motivated by money. Money has always been the only concern of the Glazers, so I do expect them to go for that. Let's see who else is in the comments. Daz is saying, not really a sale, it's only a buy-in, it's not going to work. It is a buy-in. It's not a full sale like we had hoped, like we wanted all along. Irfan says, Rafa Leao is very good. Yes, absolutely brilliant player. Good to see him staying at AC Milan. I think it's a good club for him. And yeah, he's definitely one of their best players, and he will be for a long time to come. And Lipstick is saying, let's hit the like button, guys. Thanks very much for that. Do appreciate that very much. Yes, if you guys want to hit the like button, hit the sub button, really helps grow the channel some more. So let's see, where else do we stand in terms of the United news? Let me just have a check here as well. Wanted to bring you guys some transfer news just when we're on the subject here and whilst we are live. So yes, so some updates on Rasmus Hojlund has come out today, and now it has emerged. Eric Ten Hag has been speaking with Hojlund over video calls, and he hasn't just had one, he has had several. There is also talk about Rasmus Hojlund coming to United, Eric Ten Hag's agency. I think this is a deal we can do very quickly. Big T saying, I would rather Jim take control and have an option to get the Glazers out than the Glazers just accepting investment from a hedge fund and staying for another 10 years. Yeah, I mean, that is obviously going to be preferable. I completely agree. When we see the likes of Elliott Capital Management floating about, guys who are going to give the Glazers money just so they can make more money off United and keep the Glazers, that's not what we want. I think we are in a position where the club will be sold, either 100% or majority will be sold to Radcliffe. This, I think, is a 50-50 right now. I think definitely the way things are swinging, the way the news is breaking, it looks like it might be Radcliffe taking the win in the takeover race. But when we were talking about Rasmus Hojlund, so obviously, as we know, Takeover, Eric Ten Hag been doing video calls with Rasmus Hojlund for a while now. This has come out from Ratcliffe of Manchester Evening News. Several other sources have been saying this, and we've been covering this all week. We think Rasmus Hojlund might be one of the best up-and-coming strikers across Europe. We think he's definitely attainable this season. Definitely a player we can go out and buy for around 40 to 50 million pounds. And I think he'd be a brilliant option for us. I can see people are joining in, so welcome to the stream and welcome to the channel, guys. If you guys want to let me know your thoughts on the poll in the comments, who will win the takeover race? Now, this is in relation to all of the news we have breaking today regarding the takeover. Sheikh Jassim, of course, putting a final bid in, take it or leave it. Jim Radcliffe potentially leading the race as well, according to some people. So, what do you guys think? Irfan is saying done deal now. I think that's in relation to Rasmus Hojlund. I think it could be a done deal very quickly. I think this is a deal we can get over the line, and I'd be very, very happy if we did so. And I want to see us start knocking the transfers out as well. Definitely this takeover, it took a lot of attention away from the club. Let's hope that in the silence, in the shadows, hopefully we can go out, get our transfers done nice and early. We can see LDG is in there as well, saying, I promise you Qatar bid will win. There's a lot of confidence for it among some people. I think a lot of people will be looking at this saying, if this is the final bid, would Sheikh Jassim have made a bid that he knows is going to get rejected? That's an interesting take. That's an interesting thing to think about. Will he have made that bid? These guys, Qatar, they are not used to losing out on takeover bids, on anything they want to get. They do tend to get their way. Who else is in there? Bellingham gone to Madrid. Glad to see Liverpool and City didn't get him. Yes, brilliant move for him. Brilliant move for Real Madrid as well. What they've got: Modric, Kroos, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, and now they've got Jude Bellingham. I mean, those guys have had the best midfield in the world for 10 years, and they've got the best midfield for the next 10 years already. That's kind of how I want United to run as a club. If we could be that ruthless, be that smart in the window, oh my god, man, we would be flying. Irfan is saying Qatar done deal. Let me just double check if there has been any developments on that. So far, nothing that I'm aware of. But if there is anything dropping, I will, of course, bring it to you guys live and direct. And plenty of people are joining in, so welcome, guys. Good to see you all with us tonight. If you guys want to let me know on the poll, who will be winning the takeover race based on today's news? Now, Qatar, they're currently winning 87% of the vote. You guys have been very confident all along that Qatar would win, and with this bid, this is it. It's either going to be take it or leave it. One way or another, this takeover should start to wrap up very, very soon. Hopefully by the end of the week. Big T says Sir Jim won't want to lose either. Don't be surprised if he has a few tricks left up his sleeve. Absolutely. And I don't think you get to be a billionaire if you're a guy who loses. You will not take no for an answer. You will get your own way. And I think all billionaires are probably like that. I mean, it all depends. I think I'm kind of surprised. I did think at some stage Qatar would come out with a bid that would just blow Radcliffe out of the water. I did expect it to come. It hasn't quite materialized like that. That hasn't quite happened. And now we're in a situation with Sheikh Jassim threatening to walk away after Friday, making a bid which I'm not sure if it's going to get accepted or not. And I'm sure you guys are concerned. I mean, I feel concerned. The one thing I don't want more than anything else is for United to fall further behind, and I don't think with the Glazers here we will just continue to fall further behind other clubs. No doubt in my mind about that. Now, if Radcliffe comes in, puts a majority investment and buys the Glazers out, runs the club well, we will be better off. I don't think United are in a position where, say, Newcastle or Man City would be, where they need their owners' money to live and thrive as a club. United, we are a commercial powerhouse. We are one of the biggest brands in the entire world. Now, if you do add Qatari wealth onto that, you're talking about a club that realistically can spend however much money it wants every single season and do things that no other club can do. So it will be interesting. Lipstick is in Qatar every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Here's hoping. So yeah, so a lot of people are favouring Qatar, definitely. LDG saying banks want their money back. Glazers owe 350 million on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I also think the Glazers selling United for a world record will be attractive to the family. Absolutely. And yes, Daz, you are absolutely right, man. It is a shakedown. It is a bit of a mugging. It's like, it feels like no matter who's buying the club, it feels like they're being scammed. It feels like it's expense after expense. I mean, these guys are walking in already putting down world records to buy a club. Then they have to go and pay off all of the debt, like 500, 600 million. And then they have to go invest either in building a new stadium, renovating the stadium, which is going to need massive work done to it. The training facilities haven't been updated in 20 years. You have the team now that needs a lot of money spent on it as well. So it is a shakedown. It is a scam. It is just the way the Glazers have run this club. They have run it into the ground to the point where it no longer can stand on its own 2 feet, compete on the pitch, and bring in the money that it once did. Have no mistake about it. If United were still the best team in England, were winning Premier Leagues, were challenging for Champions Leagues, Glazers wouldn't be going anywhere. No doubt about it. And that's what it's all coming down to. It's their ownership model has been unsustainable for a long time. For a long time, they lived off the money and the name that Ferguson had built, the trophies, the incomes. That's all kind of gone downhill now, and at some point they do have to walk away. This definitely does feel like a shakedown. As Lipstick says, it's a grift. Yes, absolutely. And Daz says, don't forget Qatar are giving them away into Qatar, and Tampa Bay has to be worth millions. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Tampa Bay is worth a lot of money. You're talking about an NFL team there. Definitely a lot of money involved in running those guys. But they do seem more concerned with Tampa Bay. We see them at the matches quite often. Those guys, they are more invested in American football. We have funded a Super Bowl title for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we need to go out and get rid of these guys first and foremost. We can stand on our own 2 feet. Would Qatari money help us even more? Absolutely. And I think that's where we're getting to. I think we said it before, what Radcliffe could probably invest in this club over a space of 5 years or more, Qatar could probably do within 2 seasons. And that would prevent us falling further behind. So I do think there's big positives there. As well as that, when we're thinking about what can be offered by Radcliffe, he needs to start moving the Glazers out as quick as possible. Get the debt paid off. Now, it is very uncertain. He has made very little promises, very little pledges by ways of, I'm going to spend $1 billion on the team, or I'm going to wipe out the debt, or I will build a new stadium. He said very, very little. He has kept quiet. The Qataris have been very vocal in what they want to do with United. Dal says Qatar invited Tampa Bay to Qatar in the United deal, and Mark Robinson says, I don't get this. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either, man. You're thinking like a world record bid for a sports franchise, and it's probably getting turned down. It is crazy talk. It is mental. It's absolutely crazy to think about this. I mean, we always knew it would take a lot to buy United off the Glazers. We didn't think it would be this much. We didn't think it would take this long. These guys are hanging on by their fingernails. They're digging in. They're trying to get every last drop, every last penny out of this club, as they've always done. And that's where we're standing. That's where this whole takeover has gone. And did I think this would be how it went down? Absolutely. I didn't think it would take this long, though. So let's have a look as well, guys. We'll bring some more of the latest news from the more reliable journalists, of course, on the takeover. Let me just double check everything coming out. Some talk on as well. Some talk on some transfers as well, which I will bring you guys as well. So coming from Rich Fair, Manchester Evening News, Manchester United are well aware that their budget needs to be enhanced by sales. If they raise enough funds, they might be able to purchase players seemingly before out of their price range. So, do we expect sales this summer? Absolutely, absolutely. We're seeing Harry Maguire linked, first and foremost. We're seeing Harry Maguire linked to Tottenham Hotspur. We are also seeing check this, Dean Henderson potentially going the Nottingham Forest. So there definitely will be sales incoming. 20, 30 million for Henderson, 20 million for Maguire. Good business. We can move on Scott McTominay as well for 20, 25 million. All of a sudden, we're looking at another 50, 60, 70 million. All depends on how much of that Erik ten Hag gets to keep as a transfer budget. But I think sales will be important this year, and we need to get them right. Absolutely. Erik ten Hag as well has told United board the areas he wants to strengthen in the summer. United's main concern is the uncertainty regarding the ongoing takeover, which is making it very difficult to plan ahead with budgets potentially affected by ownership changes. So that's another thing. We've seen this coming out with all the news breaking about Sheikh Jassim's final bid for Manchester United. Now, what he had said was he wanted to invest 1 billion into the club. That's what he wanted to do. And that was probably going to take place as quickly as possible in terms of Erik ten Hag getting the transfer budget he needs to buy the players he wants to build this team even more. Now, if Radcliffe comes in, what do we have to look forward to as a budget? We cannot be sure. Ineos and Radcliffe, they've been very quiet in terms of their plans and their pledges for what they want to do with Manchester United, where they will take this club. And I'm not surprised. That is probably the way they operate most times. We can see LDG is in there saying before Ineos, Nice were regular top four. Since Ineos, they've been 10th. Before Ineos, Lausanne Sport mid-table top division in Switzerland. Since Ineos, they have been relegated. Yes, not a great track record there. I think people would probably point as well. We do have examples of Qatari ownership failing, but I guess this wouldn't be Qatari, the Qatari state buying United. It is a private individual heavily linked to Qatar in Sheikh Jassim, of course. But the point does stand. There is not a good track record for Jim Radcliffe with Nice, with the way it's been run. That has to be concerning, I guess. Absolutely, we will say that is something to be worried about. According to Sky Cava, he has said Sheikh Jassim is fed up with the bidding process for Man United. I mean, I'm sure you guys would be as well. I'm sure you guys would be very fed up. I mean, if you're trying to buy something and you come back with bid after bid, offer after offer, and none of them get accepted, none of them even get responded to, I'm sure you're going to get fed up with it. I'm sure that, all things considered, he has probably not expected this. He probably thought the Glazers would take the first big offer that came their way, sell the club, and move on. But they haven't done that. They've done what they always do. They drag things out, they grind it down, they get what they want. And they've done that for the last 20 years at United. They've managed to buy the club on debt. They've managed to extract over £1 billion in terms of dividends and money taking out. They have a massive mortgage on the club that United have to pay themselves. I mean, those guys are in this for the long run, and make no mistake about it, they will want every last penny out of Radcliffe or out of Sheikh Jassim. And there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever if if Jim Radcliffe is successful and he wants to buy United out in years to come, he wants to get rid of the Glazers completely, sell all their shares, get them all to himself. We'll probably be looking at a couple of years to do that. The amount of money these guys will be looking. Pastor Milner is saying, I don't understand why the Glazers are doing foolish business. I am fed up with this takeover. Yes, I absolutely am as well, man. I'm so fed up. We just want the club sold and we want to get moving forward. That's what we want. We've had a very good season. We had a very good transfer window last year with a great manager who's doing very good things with this team. What we have to do is go out, back him, get him the players that he needs to succeed. That's what we wanted to do. At the moment, Erik ten Hag doesn't even know what his budget is. I mean, if there ever was a symptom of Glazer ownership, this is it. LDG is saying before Ineos, the Mercedes F1 team with the dominant force. Since Ineos bought a third into Mercedes, they have been garbage. I mean, yeah, I don't think many people would deny that. I think Red Bull, of course, F1 have improved a lot as well, but certainly Mercedes definitely have gone downhill over the last couple of seasons. But yeah, just keep letting me know your thoughts, guys. Keep voting on the poll as well. Who will win the takeover race? We are asking this based off today's news. Will it be Qatar or will it be Sir Jim Radcliffe? Let me know down below on the poll, and any more thoughts, get them into the comments. If you guys are new and you want to join in with the growing community on the channel here, please consider hitting that sub button. Helps grow the community and helps me out a lot as well. So let's move on and let's have a look at some other news coming in. In terms of transfers, actually, we're looking at Mason Mount. So more news dropping in the last couple of minutes on Mason Mount. Player heavily linked to United. This definitely does seem like it might be one of the first signings of the season. So we're talking Rob Dawson here. So he is saying there is confidence that a deal for Mason Mount can be done despite Chelsea's valuation. He's only got a year left on his contract and has indicated to United he will be interested in moving. There's Michael is saying Michael is saying Sir Jim buys out the Glazers in a few years, then what? United can't compete using a sustainable financial model. And Big T says Verstappen ended Hamilton, can't blame that on Jim. I'm not knowledgeable enough on the F1 myself. I would be quite casual on it. But yeah, I mean, if that is the case, I mean, I know Verstappen's obviously a great racer. I know Red Bull have massively improved as a team. Maybe it's a collection of things. I don't know. So yes, talking about so we're talking here about Mason Mount coming to Manchester United. Now, Rob Dawson, ESPN, has said that United are confident they can do a deal to buy Mason Mount. So that's obviously very positive. Good to see us moving proactively in terms of transfers and getting players over the line. Is Mason Mount going to be a world beater for United? I don't think so. Will Mason Mount add qualities to Manchester United's team that we don't have? Yes, he will. And I have recorded a proper in-depth look at Mason Mount as a player, where he would fit in. He does seem to be a very interesting profile. Seems to be something Erik ten Hag likes, is a sort of midfielder who can go forward, have some leg work in him as well, get goals, get assists. Those type of players usually thrive under Erik ten Hag, and Mason Mount could be the next one of those players. Any more thoughts, guys? Because I can see people joining in. Keep voting on the poll. Who will win the takeover race? That's what we're asking you guys. Will it be Qatar? Will it be Sir Jim Radcliffe? Let me know as well. Any more thoughts? Get them into the comments. So we do have news coming out here from Fabrizio Romano, speaking about a player going and a player coming in. Of course, the player coming in is Mason Mount, and the player going out, it's Donny van de Beek. So Fabrizio has been saying Van de Beek is to explore options this summer. If a deal for Mount is done, then United will sell him this year. Van de Beek exploring options in this summer, with United trying to strengthen in midfield and are currently in talks with a deal for Mason Mount. Donny has accepted it's time to leave. So what's your guys' thoughts on that? Would you guys like to see Mount brought in and Van de Beek sold? Let me know down below. Let's see, there's Dr. Schmeichel is saying 60 million wouldn't be that bad considering they sold Hazard in the last year of his contract. Realistically, he's worth 40. And Chris is saying 88% gonna be upset because the Tossers don't want to sell. I don't think they do. I don't think they want to completely sell. I think they acknowledge that their ownership model isn't working out, that it's not going to run in the long term. What I think the Glazers are doing is saying, if we can sell a lot of the shares now, hold on to what we have left, and wait for Radcliffe to buy us out further down the line, there will be more money made. And I think that's what those guys are going for. Make no mistake about it. It will be whatever makes them the most money. That's what they will go for. No doubt in my mind about it. That's the way they've always operated this football club. That's where they've always run the place. So that's what they will continue to do, in my opinion. No doubt about it. Fully expect the Glazers to make every last penny that they can. Let's see. Chris is saying agree. Yeah. Let's see. So, Ty Marshall of Manchester Evening News has been speaking United's main concern is that the continued uncertainty regarding the future of the club is affecting the takeover budget and making it very difficult to plan ahead. Something we have been saying. I'm sure you guys are definitely stressing out about this one. I am as well. Big transfer window coming up, coming off the back of a brilliant season, and we might lose out on that momentum. We might lose out on a lot of momentum going forward. And that's a big concern for mine, because when you have momentum and you have a good finish to the league, you've won a trophy, what you want to do is go out, invest further in your team, build on what you have. You don't want to sit back and relax, because in the Premier League, that is just impossible. You have to invest, you have to buy those players, and you have to be ambitious. If we are uncertain, if we do not know what budget we have, how many players we're going to bring in, that's worrying for me. Dr. Schmeichel is saying Van de Beek had his chances, never really shown that he's been suitable for the EPL, sadly. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a talented player there. I just don't think he was ever suited for Premier League football. I think he was bought off the back of a good season for Ajax in the Champions League, but not every player who does well in Europe is going to do well in the Premier League. And I think we should have looked. I mean, he was coming in to compete either and play instead of Bruno Fernandes, which was never going to happen, or try to play in a pivot, which he'd never really done before. So I don't think it was ever going to work out. LDG says Ineos equals regression, and Big T says they said from the beginning they were looking at options. They have never said they want to sell 100%. Fans got carried away selling, saying pound signs, and have set their hearts on it. There is an element to that. I do agree. I also don't think they ever were really likely to come out and say they were going to sell, because as a public traded company, there's rules and regulations about selling. There's all these financial and business laws. So I don't think they were ever going to come out explicitly say, yeah, clubs for sale. I think that might have left them potentially in trouble if it didn't come off. LDG says they were hanging out around the club during Qatar in the World Cup. Yep, they were. Ashade is saying, good evening, Qatari will take full control of Manchester United. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining with us on the channel, on the live tonight. And thanks for letting us know your thoughts as well. If you guys want to get your thoughts into the comments, do you think Radcliffe will win? Will Sheikh Jassim win? Or what do you guys think about the transfer window? Plenty of talk coming out tonight, and we are going to move on to the next story, and it's a big outgoing. It's one we've expected. It's one we knew was coming. It's Harry Maguire. So, according to James Ollie from ESPN, he has been saying Tottenham and West Ham have been offered the chance to sign Harry Maguire this summer. What do you think about this? Yeah, absolutely. I think Harry Maguire will be sold. I think we're looking at a guy now coming into the end stage of his career, pushing 30. So he knows he's going to have to play in the European Championships next summer. He knows he is not guaranteed a place should he go out and not play all season for United again. If we bring in Kim Min-jae, Harry Maguire is never touching the pitch. I mean, Maguire would be fifth choice. He would not play over Varane or Kim Min-jae. He wouldn't play over Lindelof or Lisandro Martinez. Dr. Schmeichel says I'll drive him there. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Tottenham would be a bad move for Harry Maguire. One potential issue, and this is something we have across the board, this is a real problem United have had for years upon years, is player wages. So, according to ESPN, same guy writing the article, he has said Maguire's wages are a stumbling block for Spurs. Sources have told ESPN that he earns in the region of £200,000 a week, and that could go up with Champions League football secured for next season. So if Harry Maguire's going to go, he's going to have to take a pay cut. And then it comes down to it. What do you do? Do you want to take a pay cut and further your career? Or do you want to sit on the bench at Manchester United? What does Harry Maguire want to do? Hopefully he has ambition. I hope for his career that he moves on. I think he wouldn't be a bad fit for Tottenham or West Ham, somebody like that. I think if we do sell him, get some money in, it would be more beneficial to us. Big T says, why would Spurs want Maguire? They've had a difficult enough job trying to win stuff as it is. I don't know, man. I don't think there's a bad defender in there. I think he has to play in a certain system. I think when Maguire defends the box and all he has to do is head the ball away and clear the ball away. I think that's a game that suits him. I don't think Spurs will be playing that style of football next season for sure. Asaid is saying, who do you think will buy Manchester United? Well, that's the big one. I think all along there was a part of me always convinced that at some point in stage Qatar will come out with an offer that would just blow Ineos out of the water. Now I was expecting it for weeks upon weeks. I definitely thought at some point in time this bid will come. Sheikh Jassim will just say, I've had enough of these negotiations. Here's the money. Give me the club. That's what I thought would happen at some point. And it hasn't. So I think based on what we're looking at today, I think what the Glazers are going to do is take Radcliffe's money, buy out most of their shares, hold on to the remaining shares, and know that when Radcliffe wants full control, he's going to have to pay them even more money. So that's what I think is the most likely scenario. I think this time tomorrow will be crucial, because by this stage tomorrow we will know one way or another whether Sheikh Jassim's bid has been accepted. If he walks away on Friday, Radcliffe has won. If it is accepted, we will probably hear news of that tomorrow or breaking into Friday. So the next 36 hours, I would say, very, very important in the overall story of this takeover. Dr. Schmeichel says, what would City do? Pay him off, cut him loose and buy someone better. We can't do this. The Glazers always want and need more money. Yes, it is. It is always money. There's definitely a lot of nostalgia at the club. A lot of players being kept on for years upon years, just for the sake of keeping them on, just for the sake of having them down as a financial asset. That's how it ran under Ed Woodward with the Glazers. It's why Phil Jones got contracts, Ashley Young got contracts, really undeserved. So that's what they've done for years upon years, man. She is saying if the Glazers are willing to go with Sir Jim, they would have accepted a long time ago. It's an interesting point. There's definitely a lot more going on behind the scenes that we do not know about. We are only being fed scraps at a bit here and a bit there. We can only really go off what is being said. Now, the people around the negotiations, if you're on the Glazers team with the Rain Group, or if you're Sheikh Jassim, if you're his entourage, his management, the guys with him, or if you're Ineos and Radcliffe, you will know what is going on with the takeover long before any of us. Rajat is saying, hello, hope Qatar win it. Hello, man, good to see you back on the channel. Yes, so I think a lot of people are hopeful that Qatar will win this takeover. I think that's the big hope for a lot of people. I think that there's certainly an element of people looking at what City have accomplished and looking the same at United. So I do agree with that. I think trying to get the Glazers out, definitely going to be a big thing. Rajat says, didn't Qatar and Sir Jim Radcliffe sign the NDA? Yes, I do believe. Hold on a second. I do believe, yes, that there was an NDA signed at one point. I do think that did happen. I think what this is coming from is people in and around the deal probably feeding drips and drabs to the media as it comes, and I think this is where it's coming from. There definitely is elements of all that happening in regards to this. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely more going on behind the scenes than what we know about. We fans, we're always in the dark, and especially around the Glazers, we know what those guys are like. They will hold on, they will drag everything out to the very last moment and try to get the most money possible. Gonna check here, see if anything else is dropping for you guys. Usually is a bit of news dropping between 9 and 10 whenever the watershed ends and the press embargoes end for the next day. What else is going on? I'm not sure if anybody's watching the Conference League final. Is there any goals in that there yet? Get it into the comments, guys, as well. Let me know. So in terms of signings, we're talking, according to Rich Fay, Manchester Evening News, Manchester United are showing an interest in Bart Verbruggen, an Anderlecht goalkeeper, as they look to sign competition for David De Gea. Seeing a couple of links to the guy, he does seem like a very young goalkeeper, quite a good goalkeeper, certainly stats-wise, very good with his feet, a good coming off his line. I think if we don't have a lot of money to spend on a goalkeeper, maybe someone like this could be an option. Who else is in there? Dr. Schmeichel saying thoughts on Greenwood's future and how might that impact on Anthony, given his own allegations against him now. It's an interesting point. We did see talk today. Now, this came out pretty early this morning. Definitely lost in and amongst all the takeover news that the Greenwood's investigation by the club was coming to an end within the next couple of weeks, and there should be clarification and an ultimate decision made pretty shortly on that one. I think in terms of Anthony, it's only allegations at this point, very serious allegations, and I'm sure that full process will be filed. Now, um, ultimately, there's not too much to go with by ways of details, but that's kind of where we are at the moment. Um, Rajat says, don't believe that Man United are going to sign Kim Min-jae when Newcastle are lurking. They will act quick. Absolutely, they could do. I think the biggest benefit for United is Newcastle will want to sign the guy for his release clause as well. And the release clause, it doesn't kick in until July, so there might be a couple of weeks where we can focus on getting Mount, getting Hojlund across the line, and then going for Kim Min-jae. Now, according to a lot of reports coming out across the last couple of days, and certainly all summer long, what will happen is we have an initial budget of what, 100 million, 150 million. Once that's spent, any more money we are going to spend will be brought from player sales. So sales will be very important this transfer window, because it could be the difference in getting Ten Hag 3 players or getting him 5 players. Now, there is talk as well, looking at free agents. Adrian Rabiot is one United do seem to be interested in it. So that could be another bonus signing brought in, somebody else coming in to make a bit of a difference. Rizat saying, now Real's got 2 forwards, Rodrigo and Vinny. Yes, I expect to see Real Madrid go big on a striker this summer, possibly a Harry Kane. Maybe they will take him. Of course, Levy doesn't want to sell Kane to any English team, so maybe he could go to Real Madrid. That could be an option. They're going to want to bring somebody else in. Definitely at least one player. If they want to take Anthony Martial or Wout Weghorst, go for it by all means. But yeah, they will be looking for strikers for sure this summer, which makes our job more difficult because the top level striking market, it is quite small. We're talking Gonzalo Ramos, we're talking Osimhen, Harry Kane. Then we're looking at perhaps a Vlahovic or somebody like Hojlund, maybe someone like that. Other than that, not too many top level signings about. Jinwa is saying what's happening. Well, in terms of the takeover, as we know, been breaking all day. Big talk is that Sheikh Jassim has made a 5th take it or leave it bid. This is a bid which he says if it is not accepted by what time? Friday? That's it. He will walk away. That's what we're talking. So that's the big news. Now, there has been news come out as well. Radcliffe potentially already winning this race. It might be over. Expect final clarification on the end of the takeover debate by Friday. Now, the takeover will continue to drag on. It will not be an overnight thing, but we could know who the new owner will be very, very shortly. Ashid is saying now the Qataris went in full out mode with their 5th and final bid. I think that has the Glazers quaking in their boots. Dr. Schmeichel says United only be able to sign 1 player at a time over 2 months. We're screwed if we're relying on sales. Yeah, absolutely. As we know, very, very poor transfers for years upon years, man. Pastor Milner is saying, I don't support Jim to buy United because I don't think he can manage United and we need trophies. So give the team to Sheikh Jassim. Thank you very much for that. GMO, is it Jamo? I think. Saying Mount or Rice. It's an interesting choice. 2 very different players. I think Mount potentially would be more useful in the short term because we already have Casemiro kind of to play that deeper lying midfield. So he is the real guy in there at the moment. Who else is in here as well? Dr. Michael saying Mount or Rice, both for me. Yeah, I would love both. I think both would be brilliant. Stephanie is saying big ups. Thank you very much, Stephanie, as well, for all the love and support. Much appreciated from everybody. And Jinwa is saying, and plus, did you Spur being the top 3 most profitable teams in the world? It just shows how Spurs is run. Yeah, I mean, they're well run in terms of profit. I mean, I'd be worried about us, man. Rajat saying Mount now and get Kudus in January. Yeah, I mean, I would love Kudus. I think very, very talented player. Really, really versatile. So direct. His dribbling is absolutely incredible. Can score goals as well. Very versatile. Can play on the wing, can play up front, can play in attacking midfield. Very, very good player. and a player I would love to see at United. But I do expect a big window. I'm sure you guys are as well. Any more thoughts, guys? Keep getting them into the comments. Let me see who's in the comments down here as well. Poll is currently still running as well, guys. 111 votes. 88% of you guys are going for Qatar to win the takeover race. A lot of people thinking it could be the I think what a lot of people are looking at is saying if this is his final bid, it has to be accepted, because why else would he make it? And that is a good point to point out. Rajat says, happy to get African and Asian players. We need them. Absolutely. There are very, very good players all around the world. In terms of Asian players, like I would love a Kim Min-jae to come in during the summer. Mohamed Kudus could be a brilliant option. Osimhen would be a star signing if we got him. Dr. Schmeichel says, haven't we been linked to a French defender? Yes, I think that's Axel Diassi. I think definitely big talk coming out about him tonight. Now, this is coming from French sources and coming as well from a couple of English sources. Fabrizio Romano says that our main target is still Kim Min-jae. Axel Diassi is the second choice. He is the plan B if things do not go well with Kim Min-jae. Who else is in there? Would you let Sancho go for 50 mil? It's a good offer. I mean, I think Sancho is a brilliant player. We do have to question if it's ever going to happen for him at this point. Who else is in there? Romano says to watch United and French League players this summer. Yeah, I think Axel Diassi could be one for sure. There's the guy Thuram from Nice. Now, there was talk of him going to Liverpool. If Radcliffe did win, maybe he could end up coming to United. I don't know. As well, Big T says, did you watch Kim Min-jae get injured doing his national service? No, I didn't actually say that, man. I know South Koreans have to do national service. I remember Heung-min Son did his over the COVID-19 the break anyway, whenever there was no football. So So yeah, I think it's interesting. Let's see. Shade is saying Mount, Hojlund, Kim Min-jae, Rabiot would not be a bad start to the window whatsoever at all. Would really rate that. Would definitely bring up the technical levels. I'd like to see a goalkeeper brought in on top of that. If we go big, I think if we don't spend massive money on a striker, we get a Hojlund for 40, 50 million. Get that money and get Diogo Costa for me. Tom Heaton potentially leaving, Jack Butland gone, David De Gea hasn't signed a contract. If he doesn't, let's go and bring somebody else in. Would you be okay with Greenwood returning? I don't know, man. I mean, no doubting his talent, his ability. I think it all depends. I mean, obviously he was not technically found guilty by CPS of any illegal activities. He was never charged. Now, there is a club investigation, and I think what will happen, it'll come down to this. It'll come down to one or two things. The biggest indicator, and Eric Ten Hag has said it is not his choice. That means the biggest indicator is going to be sponsors. If the sponsors are unhappy about him coming back and are threatening to pull their money, the club will get rid of him. Other than that, it's a coin toss. Anything could happen other than that. Who else is in there? Jinwa is saying, we are physically weaker than European African countries. It's sad to say most of us don't make it because of that. Yeah, I mean, I think, but there definitely is a lot of very good players coming out of Asia, and football is a changing game. It isn't as physical as what it used to be. Much more emphasis on technical ability and speed. I don't think your location matters too much moving forward. Certainly, I mean, Heung-min Son, fantastic player in the league. Look at Celtic in a very physical league. A lot of Japanese players doing very well. So I do think that players from all around the world can succeed, and there's definitely talent to be found all over. It's just getting it acknowledged and signing it up. Hopefully United can do that moving forward. Who else is in here? Rajat is saying, how good is Verbruggen? I don't know much about him. Is he a ball-playing goalkeeper with his feet? Yes, he is. He's a very, he's good with his feet. Right-footed goalkeeper. Have done a little bit of looking at how he plays. He's very, very aggressive. Comes off the line well to sweep up in behind. Comes off his line very well to claim crosses in the box. He is an aggressive, commanding goalkeeper, and that would be a nice dynamic. I think whilst a lot of people would say David De Gea was better than Dean Henderson. I think the one thing everybody would admit is that Dean Henderson, coming off his line to claim the ball, he controlled his penalty box so well, and all top goalkeepers do that. I think looking at how goalkeepers have changed over the last 10 years, look at them now. Those are goalkeepers are strong guys, physical guys. They control, they command that penalty area very well. Who else is in here as well? Big T saying Greenwood and his girl are going to do televised interview. I'm presuming it will be to try clear the air. It will be interesting. I will definitely keep an eye out for that dropping if it happens. Who else is in there? Jinwa is saying it's definitely changing, but it takes time. Yep, it does. I mean, even within like English football, you're looking, there's not a lot of English players playing abroad. I mean, it's a relatively small place, Europe, you know, all things considered. Would be interesting to see more of that. Football definitely becoming a global game. When you're seeing Japan do so well in the World Cup, South Korea, Morocco, we're seeing guys as well, Middle Eastern teams qualifying for World Cups, going really well. Morocco as well, semi-finals of the World Cup. I mean, football is a changing game. Everything is kind of turning on its head. And I think that makes the game a lot better. Who else is in here? Jimbo says, have you seen Varela from Boca Juniors? An exciting prospect. I haven't. I will be watching more South American leagues, especially now the Premier League is done. Who else have we got? Rajat is saying, what part of the UK do you live in? It's a complicated question. It is a complicated question because depending on who you ask from my area, they will say they're from two different countries. So I am from Northern Ireland. So some people would say they're Irish from here. Some people would say they're British. It is kind of confusing for a lot of people. Who else is in here? Opinions on David Raya. He's theoretically free and would only cost 40 million. I think Raya is brilliant. I would really like to see him brought into Manchester United. Great with his feet, amazing coming off his line as well. Decent penalty saver, very good shot stopper. Premier League proven, 27 as well. He will be perfect in my opinion. Who else is in here? Jamo says, I don't want Henderson near the club. Yeah, he will be sold. And Asaid is saying Dean Henderson 30 million max. Yeah, he is going to be sold for sure. And we can reinvest that money back into the team. That's very good for me. Jinwa is saying Van der Sar was a short-term answer for Sir Alex, but he won his Champions League with this bloody hell football. Yeah, brilliant goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar. Great shot stopper, one of the best in terms of keeping clean sheets. His distribution as well, incredible. Rajat is saying, getting tired of us dream these players and they always end up going to other clubs. It's so annoying. Yes, it is. I think a lot of that comes down to United being very... Well, it comes down to two things, really. First and foremost, we are not very good at negotiating for players. We let players go to other clubs all the time. They get better at those clubs, and then we go and spend loads of money on them. The second thing is, United, as one of the biggest teams in the world, if not the biggest, we get linked to players even though it's not happening. It's a pretty new phenomenon, but it's something that definitely does happen. We get linked to get clicks on articles or clicks on videos or sell some newspapers or whatever, man. So we do have to expect that. That's why what we always do on the channel and what we always try to do as fans is look for credible sources, looking for Romanos or Ornsteins, Simon Stone, BBC, guys like that who will not make it up. You know, that's what we have to do because we can easily get excited. I mean, I'm sure if you go onto Twitter or whatever and type in Mbappe to United, there'll probably be like 10 accounts saying Mbappe is going to United for 500 million and could Chick to Sims flying him over on his private jet as we speak and stuff. So there would be stuff like that going on. So it is important to look out for. Big T says the rate at which Saudis are buying players, top English players, will get more chance of going around Europe in future. Yeah, it definitely will. The Saudi Pro League is getting very interesting now. At the moment, it does seem to be mostly players on the back end of their career, but that could change. I think the biggest thing that will keep the top players in Europe is the Champions League. Champions League, the way it's marketed, the history of that competition, every player wants to win it, and I think that's what's keeping a lot of people going in their prime. Some people still will. We've seen Oscar, for instance, going to China when he was like 23 from Chelsea. It will happen, and it can happen. I think it's interesting seeing Benzema in there now, Ronaldo and N'Golo Kante going, seeing Messi going to Inter Miami. So that's interesting. Definitely an end of an era for football into the new era of Mbappe's, Haaland's, players like that. Who else is in here? Jinwa is saying, do you remember that Undersell actually used to do quick short deals for bright talented players? Yeah, we did. Ferguson was very good at snapping up players quickly. Very, very sharp business. We were ran better as a football club then. We were a football club then. um, who else is in there? Stephanie is saying, which Premier League clubs do you think Maguire's potentially going to go to? Spurs, West Ham, or Villa? First two could use him to get Kane and Rice. Good point. Very good point. I think Maguire at Spurs makes sense. I mean, Harry Maguire will not want to take too much of a step down, his opinion. I think he would look at Spurs and say that's a pretty big club, and I think he might go there. Based in London, and that will be appealing a lot of English players. I think Spurs most likely. I think West Ham probably suit his game best. And maybe Aston Villa as well. It all depends. Who else is in here? Jinma is saying, and they're working at the end of the day at Field. Yep, do agree with that. Rajat, do United have chances to get Hojlund and Harry Kane, and what about Neymar on loan? Neymar on loan, that was talked about